Hello, this is Reverend Joseph Andrew Jensen Sr. Okay, I just started making a video and I found that it wasn't even recording right. Now, the point here's when it started over again. I made the videos the last 2 days about God and God's coin. That's the title of both of them. One was original, I made a mistake and I had to make it over because of that one mistake. The only mistake I made was not recognizing Selena at the very beginning of the thing, and Paul said Aria had 8 years of college, and then I said Aria had 6 years of college. Well, the one that has 8 years of college was Selena, so I remade but it turned out great because both videos are excellent. Selena, forgive me for messing up on the first video. Okay, we calling Aria's name twice. Now to get on with this, okay? Everybody now is aware God's coin's coming. God's coin's coming in another 2 weeks. I'm going to try to get it, God's coin to everybody in 2 weeks. When the money starts rolling in. So Aria is going to put it on computer graphics and the world's going to see. When the world sees a million, a billion people buying God's coin, okay? When they see these numbers of how many God's coin are being sold every day, when you buy a God's coin and you give your card, we know who you are, and that's the way we're going to send your share of money back to you and redeposit it that night. So the next day after you purchase God's coin, other than the first dollar that you spend, which goes to God's ministry, God's Living Ministry. That's the name of my ministry, is God's Living Ministry. Anyway, when it go that first dollar goes to God's Living Ministry. Now, no matter how many God's coin goes you buy, each one's not charged. Those are what's accumulated throughout the day, and that's what's being divided before the midnight, because they're all dated right after midnight. Okay, it's all totaled up for that day's gone, right? So it's all totaled up, and then that total of the God's coins sold will be divided by the number of purchases and those are accounts, and then that money, your share, will be directly deposited that night. So when everybody wakes up that next morning, they will have something. They have to have something. I mean, it's inevitable. You already made the purchases, but all that money's being divided up to profit and being going back into your account, so everybody's making money. When the world starts realizing it, that's when the numbers are going to go from the hundreds to the thousands to the millions to the billions. Regardless whether there's only 9 billion people in this world, we're not talking about just how many people are in this world, 9 billion people. Now, suppose you took 9 billion people were able to buy 100 God's coins. That's 100 times 9 billion. Okay? Think about how much 100 times 9 billion is, or even 1,000 times 1 billion. Well, this is going to have people that spend millions and billions times themselves. So the numbers are astronomical of what was going to be shared with this world. Currently today, there's only $775 trillion in this world. No. God's going to put quintillions of dollars in this world. Everybody's going to have the power and the money to own multiple cars, brand new. Brand new cars. Now, I told you that alongside of every service station, every bank I build, which I'm going to start with 250 million banks, but I'm hoping to have 500 million banks. But also beside every bank will be a service station that sells hydrogen, oxygen, liquid nitrogen, nitrous oxide, gasoline, kerosene, diesel, everything. When a person comes to every bank I have, they're going to get their car washed from the very beginning. The valets will come to take people in the bank. They'll go to the upstairs. All my banks will be built the same. They require a restaurant on the second floor. And so that everybody can go upstairs and eat. Yep, they'll go upstairs and eat free meals. I don't care if it's 3 times a day. Every customer. The employees as well. They eat restaurant food 3 meals a day if they want. I'm just trying to tell everybody life is going to be very much the way that you're catered to, just the way God was supposed to treat you. Because now God's in the picture. We are caretakers. That's what God's doing. Don't you see what I'm saying? God is not coming down on you, like intimidating you or treating you like he's better. God's actually a servant. He's being a servant. He's taking care of us. And that's why we take care of each other and his planet. The only thing God doesn't have is hands and feet and a mouth. That's what we do. When God came to me in 2009, June the 9th, 2019, when God came to me, I was in an argument and God says, Joe, quit blaming me. I don't have any hands to help you or stop anyone. I don't have no feet to run save you from a fire or to run put one out. I don't have a mouth to call 911 or yell stop. You know what God was telling me when he said that? God was saying, Joe, I need your hands. I need your feet. I need your mouth. That's what God's message is all about. God needs us. He doesn't have the hands. He doesn't have the feet. He doesn't have the mouth. And nobody's going to give them to him because nobody's recognizing him. Not even you. You see? That's me, myself. I wasn't giving God a second thought about that. But God says, come on, Joe, I need you. This is your hour. This is your time. You were born to do this. Think about what I just said. You was born to do this. How else do you explain what I'm doing and doing it now? You're not doing it. I'm doing it at this moment. When I get to Egypt and start this, I'm fulfilling a prophecy, the Islamic prophecy. I've first already been involved in one part of prophecy, and that was the rapture. It took place September 21st, 2025. At midnight. Oh, so many people say, I can't believe that. I'm still here. That's the kind of person, the reason why they're there is because they were hypocrites. They're thinking they're so good that God would have had to take them. That's the exact reason why they're not there. They need to learn where God is. And how much time do any of you spend talking to God? Not on your knees talking to God, just talking to God. He's your best friend. He's your companion. He's right there inside you. How much time do you spend listening to God or thanking God every second? You didn't have to see nobody do it. God was right there. You got to realize how much time you spent away from God, not recognizing God. I had to do the same thing. I had to reflect on what God was saying. I was actually just learning where God was at. Like the Ethiopians, that the thing, they believe that God is so close to you. He's like on the ground you're stepping on the view, on the trees, everything you see. God's so close to you, though. He's like, like I said, you're standing on the ground that they believe where God's at. No Ethiopians. God's inside you. That's why he's so close. God's living inside you. Heaven's inside you. How do you people gonna get things, figure this stuff out? You Christians are so self-righteous. Your self-righteousness, and Jesus said this, as filthy rags. You think that you should have been in the rapture and you're still here for a reason? I tried to get to Joe Gregory the day before the rapture come to have a visual. It was on a Saturday, going to a Sunday. It happened at midnight on Saturday. Trying to have a visual, a midnight visual, when the rapture took place. No, Joel, I've gone to that church, and I've been there, and you can't get there. You can't get close to talking to Joel personally. To even warn him or tell him. And look what the rapture tells you to do. What it told you to do. Keep a visual. Look out. Said Jesus was going to come as a thief in the night. He did. You know what happened that night? That night that the rapture took place, all the good in everybody's DNA, anybody that Jesus chose, went to live in heaven. Where's heaven? Inside you. But it's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful place. No doubt heaven is right up here inside everyone. But it's different than being trapped in the DNA. Those that didn't make it are trapped in that DNA. Now who do we got inside running through our DNA? Everybody that didn't make it. Guess who's probably in DNA? I'm not going to say for sure, but I would think it's Billy Graham and people like him that have been judging people all their life. How many times Christians you told them they're all going to hell? Even the unborn are going to hell. I warned you. I said even in 2 Timothy 3:16. 2 Timothy 3:16 says if you're going to talk about God, then document it. Then give everybody the proof of what you say. And then they'll let everybody debate that issue. But don't teach it before you got go through all the facts and everybody's gone through all the facts. Don't teach what you don't know. But no, you've been pointing fingers. You've been teaching. The worst thing you can do is teach. Didn't you read the Bible? Can't you read the Bible? Jesus warned you over and over. You're going to be held. You judge unless not you be judged by the same accord. Come on, people. You've been warned over and over not to be hypocrites. He warned the Sadducees and Pharisees of that. I watched recently the thing of about the Amish religion shunning people. Leonard and Dora had a huge store. They getting shunned by the Amish community, excommunicated. Terrible thing. And this guy Leonard, like he said, he when he was 2 years old, his grandfather killed himself. I made the comment that it might have been the reason his grandfather killed himself because of shunning. The Amish were already shunned by the Mennonite religion. Religions can't shun, they can't kill, they can't steal, and that's exactly what they're doing. Now let me ask you, if you are Amish and you go out there and buy solar panels for electricity, and build a solar farm on your own money, is that wrong? Isn't the sun given to you by God? But no, because you think so. You're going to decide over God what's right and wrong. Come on, people. Leonard, don't keep on paying for the propane. Don't pay for the gas. And get yourself an electric car and see what they say about that. That's what I'm talking about. The people making your decisions are not God, yet they are acting as God. They don't no more believe in God than the man in the moon. They believe in their power to tell you what to do. There's nothing wrong with the Amish people. All of them are great. But they're brainwashed. They're brainwashed, and they are also intimidated for the same reason that Islam wears the clothes that they do and do the thing and pray on their knees 5 times a day in order. It's not because they love God so much, but in fact is they gotta follow the order, other they can get shunned. They can get shunned, excommunicated, by not doing as told. The Jewish are the same way. What religion has the right to kill? What every religion is doing? To steal, to extort, to point fingers. Who appoints them judges? Who's got the right to judge anything? The Jews wrote about the book of Judges. My God, they weren't even judging themselves. They told you couldn't eat pork. They told you couldn't drink alcohol. All these things, these are man-made rules. They're books. They're Torah, the Bible, the Quran. These are man-written things. They weren't even But who wrote the Quran? Was not Muhammad. Muhammad didn't write the Quran. Nowhere as close did he write is the Quran. Maybe a few of the words come from Muhammad, but that was the only parts when they added everything to it. There's a whole part called the Hadith. In the first, when the first Quran was written, it contained Muhammad's words mixed with hadith, with their own thoughts. I'm the sole proprietor of this God's Coin, the church, God's Living Ministry, the whole 9 yards. I can do with the police. I can have monopolies. I can do anything I want because I am the sole proprietor. I'm putting 9 billion voters in this world. I'm adding 9 billion new bank accounts to this world. What bank had ever expected to even get 1 million people, let alone 1 billion? But we're putting 9 billion accounts in this world, plus all future generations. This is what we're adding to the world. And how many businesses are going to be potential when God's giving you that kind of money? Everybody can create 4, 5, 6 businesses or do whatever you want. Your dreams, God's going to get busy. But what do we have done when we do all this? We've given God hands, feet, and a mouth. We have given this world the power of God in our hands. That's what this world's going to do. And everybody realizes that whatever they're doing, that God could have been doing all along had we recognized God earlier. Now this goes along with the thought. He said before, if a gunfighter, a good person has been practicing with a gun to shoot people, and came to town, and they had shot his hands and feet, or even his hands, where he could never hold a gun again, how many lives would have been saved? How much intimidation could have been saved? This time God's going to be with us. In us. We have hands. We have feet. We have a mouth. The people that work for me will be certified police, certified paramedics. Certified paramedics have to save the lives that they even shoot. But when you're a police, you'll be shooting for the hands and feet, not for the head and the chest, or even the legs. You'll be shooting for the hands and feet. Now, if you get shot, when you get your hands and feet shot off, I think you should be thankful that you have your life, able to still have children, still have a good life, and still earn God's coin. You see what I'm saying? Everybody needs to be thankful. Again, what's the name of God? Life. They just gave you life when you could have been dead. Be thankful for that. Everybody needs to be thankful. Who can deny God? I can't wait. I couldn't wait to see the Pope. I can't wait to see the biggest leaders in this world. That's including people like Joel Osteen. I'm not against Joel Osteen, but Joel Osteen, God still wants to address you. Yes, he's going to address all of you. Because the people before you that are dead, Charles Stanley, James Kennedy, Joel Gregory, the biggest people in the world that's been followed that are dead. Right now, likely, they're spending 1,000 years. That's the penalty for screwing up in this world. 1,000 years trapped in DNA. Like, guess where Jesus is at? Jesus is in the world that God had prepared for you, which is actually up here. It's It's a microscopic little world. It's not huge. It's very microscopic. Mostly undetected, I would think. But to God, our bodies are like the universe, as big as the universe, and all the universes combined. People, as souls, they can be physical. They can become physical again. They have to become physical, according to what we're told. Because everything, they live life. They got to have hands, they got to have feet, they got to have a mouth. I'm not sure whether you have to eat if you live in for instance, you go back in live in God's world, whether the animals really have to eat. I don't know. I haven't died yet. But the point of the matter is, you'll be in that world and you'll think, I think everybody will be surprised. But I do know this, that recently, God's been teaching me a lot. And I believe I can prove. I got a fellow that's going to help me named Mulder. He's a genetic engineer, physicist. I think mathematically, Mulder can help me prove that everybody that's a quantum theorist and quantum mechanics and quantum physics is looking for the extension that Einstein pointed out, that there's an equal and opposite planet that's repelling itself from as fast from our world. It's a mirror world, not exact mirror of this world. Not with the people, not with the buildings, not with the streets, not with all the stuff that we've done to this world. But it was an equal size, equal matter world as far as the original. I would imagine that's kind of like how they do this lighting technology when they can look at the rainforest without the trees and see where all the ancient buildings are. I don't know. But I'm just speculating at that point. I'm not really speculating. I'm just saying I don't know. But the point of the matter is God does certainly have another world. That everybody that's in that world, Jesus is there. Now, the reason I know Jesus is there, because God, when the rapture took place, Jesus had predicted the rapture. He said, when the time comes on the first judgment, the early rapture, the first judgment, the Jews call it Yom Kippur, something like that. Okay, whatever. But whatever this first judgment was called by anybody, the rapture or whatever, Jesus had said that he was going to separate the weeds from the chaff, or the chaff from the wheat. That was God. It's God given his authority for Jesus to do that when he was ready. God's ready. This is the end of time. To Islam, this time is called Al-Qiyamah. Al-Qiyamah means the last days. Now for the Jews, the last days, I don't know exactly what they call it. Maybe that's the Yom Kippur. But whatever the last thing, the days, is actually the time, not the end of the world. It's just what's the time when God's come back in the last days. And in their belief, they're going to send the Messiah. Okay? Well, I started out as God's messenger. To Islam is Rasulullah. Now, in the next 2 weeks, I'm announcing myself as the Mahdi, the Messiah, maybe the Antichrist. Why? Because you said in the Bible it says when the Antichrist comes, there'll be 3.5 years of peace. That makes me the peacemaker. Okay? 3.5 years of peace. Jews, you've been waiting for the Messiah that's going to bring peace and justice to this world. That's when the time comes. It's going to bring peace and justice to this world. Islam, Mahdi. That's going to restore the peace and justice of this world. Okay? Now nobody can doubt that. Because who else is saying it? And who else is standing up to it? Nobody. Who can take my place? Nobody. Not now. Not this second. Not this moment. Now, I'm going to be I am a martial artist. Like everybody, I told that in my other videos. Everybody that joins me is going to learn martial arts, particularly my version of Kata Ho Kempo. They'll learn Judo, Jiu-Jitsu, then Kata Ho Kempo. So what's that mean? And they're also going to be certified police. They'll shoot only for the hands and feet, but they're not going to hesitate to shoot for the hands and feet. Heck no. You don't hesitate. You do it. If somebody had the nerve to pull a gun on somebody, they can do it again. No. I would shoot the person's feet first so they drop the gun. When they drop the gun, then I'm going to shoot their hands. And I'll do it without hesitation. Why? Because I'm saving his life. I'm giving him life. God give him life. God is life. I'm not hurting that person. I'm helping that person. I'm there as a paramedic to make sure that they don't bleed to death. To make sure that I'm there to help them live. But I'm also making sure. Now, I learned in Kata Ho Kempo to break fingers, to break wrists, to break hands, to break elbows, dislocate or break knees, feet. You see what I'm saying? One finger at a time. But that's kind of like torturing a person. I don't believe in that. But my people will not hesitate. They're going to be taught not to hesitate if somebody points a weapon to shoot their hands, and if they have to, shoot their feet first. Now, what martial artist, a threatening bully, is going to sit there and come up there and intimidate you when you got guns on you? You're a martial artist. The fact of the matter is, they're not going to even try. They're not going to be that stupid. I guess one of the things that you need to know is, I said there was going to be 9 billion new voters in this world. Now, maybe not all of them now, but eventually everybody's going to turn 18. But when they reach 18, they're going to be required to be a voter. So there will be 9 billion new voters to this world. So where's that put government? Where's that put anything? We're the ones that are going to vote whether or not the army gets fed. We're the ones that are going to decide a lot of things. Army can't run without food, nor can their equipment run without fuel. And what can they do without ammunition? Because that's the point where I started this thing with. I'm going to make sure that all the ammunition in this world is only gets into the hands of the police. Peacemakers. Not just the police, the peacemakers. The Mahdi, the Messiah. We're going to pack our choice of sidearms undercover or in uniform. We're going to have our choice of our weapon. You'll see it if we're in uniform. We're in uniform, but if we're not wearing a uniform, we're still going to be concealed carrying the same weapons. We're also going to be trained martial artists. And we're training every day. Every day. We'll be learning for 1 hour every day martial arts. What I'm saying is it won't take us long. 1, 2, maybe 3 years to be, well, at least the fact is once you become at a certain level, like I was at, I was only a purple belt, but I had at a purple belt means you have learned all the moves. Purple belt, I took 3 years of Kempo. After 3 years, you learned all the moves. Now, I had to go into the service. I went into the service. And when I went to the service, I never was able to finish or test. I had, like I said, I knew all the moves, but I wasn't able to test for blue belt. I still know all the moves. I'm 74 years old now. It's almost 2 months. But I'm going to have to retrain and learn again. But they don't have the same moves of me that I learned. The generation that I learned Kempo, everybody needs to know kind of like the history that it came from William Chow, Chinese Hawaiian, was the one that brought Kempo, which is thousands of years old. It actually originated in India, and it went to China, and the Chinese couldn't beat them at their own game. The Chinese tried, but they couldn't. They said, this guy knows way too much, okay? But they learned the Indian style of kata. Now, the Ho has more to do with being in Hawaii. Kata Ho, Hawaii. The Indian style of Kempo taught in Hawaii. Okay, basically. In Kempo, we do not allow a second strike. Either I'm going to make the first strike or you're going to make it. But there's not going to be a second strike. We don't fight because we don't play around. We're not going to let you get a stance or say you're going to kick me. You'll be out long before that. And then there's no second strike. Where are you going to be? You're going to kick me when you got a dislocated leg underneath you or a broken leg? Broken feet? We rush you before you can get a gun out. We rush you before you get a knife out. You people that go swinging knives, pointing guns, You people have no idea. If everybody knew what we know, that you would never have got that gun out. You would have never got that knife out. But then anyway, let's get. I'm going to quit talking about how bad we are, because that as bad as we are now is how good we're going to be. We're not going to be intimidating. We are servants of you. We're going to look after you. As I explained to it about how we be treated at the bank. Eat your fees. We have people show you around. We have people, everything you have. We'll take your kids to daycare. We'll take them to the restaurant. You can take the infants to the nursery. I'm talking about we're going to treat you like like the millionaires you'll all be. We're going to wash, wax, and detail your car and fill it up for free. Okay? But any of my people, they will be Mahdi. They will be Messiah. They will be peacemakers. And when they are these things, if they show authority, intimidate, bully, they're out. That's the fastest way to the thing, because no matter what, you don't do that. On the roof of my bank in Cairo will be a helicopter. Somebody has a stroke or heart attack or anything like that coming on for any reason, that helicopter's on the roof. We're all certified and trained paramedics. Every one of us working there are certified. We're not just police officers, we're paramedics. We're going to get you on that helicopter, and we're going to fly you straight to the hospital. That's what we're there for. I wish every bank would be the same way. But the point of the matter is, everybody in this world that either works for me or is working, give God hands, feet, and legs. Now look, with the potential that everybody, if you don't like what you're doing or don't want to work, build the businesses, build a McDonald's, build anything. I don't want anybody raising prices on anything, but you can still ask for the same wages for the Whopper, French fries, and a milkshake. But basically that money is chump change. You still do that as a thing, but the point of the matter is everybody's going to be millionaires. But what are you doing in your business? You got free labor with you. Everybody was paid. When you open that McDonald's, the reason you open that McDonald's is to hire people. You're not paying the wages for them. I'm paying the wages. I need you to put people to work behind the counters, the fry cooks and stuff. I need everybody there, as many people as you can take inside your business. I don't care whether you're busy or not. Because you see, the fact of the matter is, if you have your place open and you don't even have a busy business, these people are all there working for you. They're working for me, actually. They're working for me. I don't have my people standing around. I don't want my people standing around. If they're nothing to do inside the facility, I need them to be training in martial arts. I need them to everybody that's with me is going to spend an hour a day starting in kindergarten. a kindergarten, and they'll spend the whole school year in kindergarten, and they won't go up until they pass an exam of what they learned. But they're actually going to kindergarten with 4 and 5-year-olds. Okay, figure that one out. Then the following year, it's going to be the 6th. It's going to be the 1st grade. Now, what are my people going to be doing? They're not, if they might be learning something, but they are going to be teaching what they know. So these 4 and 5-year-olds that are in daycares at your establishment or in wherever you're working at, in these daycare facilities and stuff like that, they're going to be going there, and they're going to teach what they know, which is a lot more than they're learning right now, and a lot faster. Selena has a language degree. You know, she had 8 years of college. Ari has a 6-year language degree and a computer graphics. What's she going to teach? They'd be teaching languages. But they got to go every day. I guess you're going to end up speaking. Well, we're going to have a 4-day work week. There'll be a 4-day work week. I think. It might be a 5-day, but I think it's going to be a 4-day. But in a 4-day work week, I'm listening to God. God's saying this will be a 5-day work week. God says it'll be a 5-day work week. So anyway, that's what it's going to be. So that means these kids can learn 5 different languages every day, a week. Speak it. That's what Aria can teach. That's what Selena can teach, because that's what they have, is degrees in language. Now, Aria can teach computer graphics. What do? You hand everybody an iPad. Let them keep it. Brand new iPad. Let them keep it and show them how to use it and start to learn. Teach them how to draw on a kids program. You see what I'm saying? Computer graphics. This is what we're going to be doing in our businesses. If we can keep you at work on an 8-hour day, you'll spend 4 actual hours working. You'll have an hour travel time to and from work. But you also have an hour of breaks. So that makes 6 hours. You had an hour travel plus an hour of breaks. Lunch break, bathroom breaks and things like that. Then you have 1 hour of martial arts. Then you have 1 hour of kindergarten. 8 hours a day. Remember, you work at that business because that's where you wanted to work. Like I say, you don't like it, go home and build your own businesses. You still keep your money as long as you are working towards your for the right reasons. In other words, you go home to build a business. You have the money. You started your own McDonald's. You start your own Burger King. You start your own restaurant. In the United States, it'd be like the Pizza Hut. Makes no difference. You'll be starting your business. I don't care if it's dry cleaners or whatever. You're not going to be working it anyway. The people, because you're going to I have over, I'm starting with 250 million banks. I'm hoping to have 500 million. But 250 million banks. Next door to my banks will be the service stations. Between the two, that is 500 million businesses that I'll own. Now, how am I going to get those built? Simple. I'm going to tell the world, anybody who wants to be a president and owner of their bank, I'll give them 15 God's coin to start the bank, plus $5 in wages. 5 God's coin in wages. And 5 God's coin every month. Okay? If a God's coin is worth 100, then when that happens, the God's coin will be worth $100,000 a piece. So that is $500,000. $500,000 to start wages per month. That's $6 million figure every year. They don't even have to be smart. I mentioned that in my past videos. Everybody's got to catch up with my past videos. It mentions them all. When you get the God's coin and you get making that much God's coin, you're going to 5 God's coin. It doesn't matter whether you know what you're doing or not. You're just the president, and you're the one willing to own the bank. Because I'm going to send you bank managers that'll get 4 God's coins per month. 4 God's coins to start and 4 God's coin every month. They'll hire supervisors that are making 3. I'm paying 3. 3 up front plus 3 every month. They'll assign team leaders. Team leaders will make 2. People that are doing dirty jobs, waste treatment, sewage treatment, different things like that. Road workers, anybody that's got a miserable job, they're not going to start with as an associate. They're going to get double wages at the second level, like a team leader. That's going to be the incentive for somebody to do the dirty jobs. Now, would you pick up trash for $200,000 a month? $200,000 up front, plus $200,000 every month? I think you would be happy picking up trash or working in this with the sewer system, whatever. I think you'd be more than happy. If you're a road worker, same thing. Everybody should be happy doing their job. If you're not, I said, go quit and start your own businesses. If there's a gap between, like I said, you're going to temporarily lose your God's coin, monthly God's coin, when you quit one business to start another. There's always a catch. There's not going to be any court system or judging anymore. Prisoners, when you finish your sentence, will be free to earn God's coin. To take a job and earn God's coin, your record's not going to come with you because all records are going to be destroyed. Only the records will be kept is the necessary records, like medical records of people. Data collection's over. Soliciting is over. All these kind of things that happened in the past are over. A&I is history. It's not going to be history in the sense that A&I has its place and is going to be put in place. Remember I told you before, animate objects you cannot think. We are the only ones that can think. Now we're trying to get machines to do the thinking for us. That ain't never gonna happen. You know why? Because those sick-minded individuals that think they're gonna have somebody thinking for them, there's always somebody that can outthink them, and that's God. God inside you. Remember, He lives right there in the pineal. And when He